Greetings everyone, my name is Levinus. My presentation today will be based on privacy, policies and laws. Let me compare and contrast 5 privacy laws from at least 2 different countries. 1. United States. One main privacy law in the United States is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA. It applies to healthcare providers and organizations and regulates the collection, storage, and use of personal health information. It requires healthcare organizations to implement administrative, technical, and physical safeguards to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of personal health information. 2. The European Union. The General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, is the main privacy law in the EU. It applies to all organizations regardless of size that process personal data of the EU citizens. It requires individuals more control over their personal data, including the right to be forgotten, and imposes significant fines for non-compliance. 3. Canada. The Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act, PIPEDA, applies to organizations that collect, use, and disclose personal information in the course of commercial activity. It sets out the principle for the collection, use, and disclosure of personal information and allow individuals to access and correct their personal information held by organizations. 4. Australia. The Privacy Act 1988 regulates the handling of personal information by Australian government agencies and private sector organizations. It includes the Australian Privacy Principle, which sets out the rules for the collection, use, and disclosure of personal information and allows individuals to make complaints about possible breaches of the Privacy Act. 5. And lastly, Japan. The Act of the Protection of Personal Information, APPI, regulates the collection, use, and storage of personal information by organizations. It requires organizations to obtain consent from individuals before collecting their personal information and to take appropriate security measures to protect the information. It also establishes the Personal Information Protection Commission to supervise the protection of personal information. Comparing the laws, the GDPR and the PIPEDA are more similar in terms of the rights of individuals for their personal information and the penalties for non-compliance. The HIPAA and the APPI have more specific regulations for certain types of data and industries. The Privacy Act of Australia is similar to the PIPEDA, but also includes specific provision of government agencies. In general, all the laws are in place to protect the rights of the individuals and their personal information, but the penalties of the rights are different in each country. At this junction, permit me to give a summary evaluating the applications of internet use, privacy, policy, research, or website presence within small to medium-sized businesses, SMB, and data protection for intellectual properties. Small to medium-sized businesses are facing significant challenges related to internet use and data protection. With the increasing use of the internet and digital technologies, SMBs need to be aware and comply with various privacy laws and regulations. These laws, such as the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, in the European Union and the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, HIPAA, is in the United States, can be costly and time-consuming for SMBs to implement. Additionally, the complexities of these laws can make it difficult for SMBs to fully understand and comply with them, putting them at risk for non-compliance. Furthermore, SMBs must also consider the implications of internet use on their website presence and online research. They must ensure that their websites are compliant with privacy laws and regulations, and that they are transparent about their data collection and use practice. Additionally, SMBs must be aware of the risks associated with online research, such as the potential for data breach and the need to protect their intellectual property. In terms of data protection for intellectual property, SMBs needs to ensure that they have appropriate measures in place to protect their confidential information and trade secrets. That also needs to be aware of the potential risks and challenges related to data protection, such as the GDPR's right to be forgotten provision, which could make it difficult for SMBs to maintain records of intellectual property ownerships. SMBs must comply with privacy laws and policies, as well as ensure the security of their data and intellectual properties. This includes protecting customers' data from unauthorized access, ensuring that data is securely stored and encrypted, and providing users with clear and transparent information about how the data is being utilized. Additionally, SMBs must ensure that any data used for research or websites present is done in accordance with the law, and that any intellectual property is properly protected. Failure to comply with this requirement can result in significant fines and other legal penalties. Overall, SMBs must proactive in understanding the complying and with privacy laws and regulations and in protecting their intellectual properties. This may require significant investment in legal, technical, and organizational measures, but it is essential for protecting the interests of the business and customers. Thank you for listening. God bless you.